Well, I'm 1 minute early. Super proud. Hey, Amy. Welcome. All right, cool. We're going to get started here with Action Network training. If you are here for the fundraising training, you're in the right place. I know we got folks probably still joining us as it is only 3 o'clock, but we're gonna probably need all the time that we have together, which is right around 45 minutes, to get through the good info that we will be sharing. So, um, like I shared, we'll get started a few minutes after the hour here, as folks make their way into the training. And we're going to be communicating via the Zoom chat throughout this training. There will be also a poll. So if you do have access to that to be able to participate, really appreciate you participating in that fashion. You will note that we are recording this. Folks are on mute so that we don't have as much background noise, so that the recording is good for folks that weren't able to make it, and also for you all joining us to use at a later time. So thank you so much. So you can introduce yourself with your name, organization, title, and location. I think we might have also got someone. So Dale already shared. I'll go ahead and share my name. Seth. It's not actually Action Network, Action Squared. I'm gonna change that on my name here on Zoom. Wow, Oxford. What time is it there, Andrea? I'm not good at that. Because like 9 hours in the future. Um, I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. Let's put that in the box. Um, Chat. Where are we on time here? Oh, it's 8 o'clock at night. Look at you. Hi, Antonia. Hi, Matt. Hi, John. You never know who you're going to meet on one of these trainings. So we're going to get started here. It is 3:02. I'm going to go ahead and get started as folks are introducing themselves in the chat. Just wanted to open up with a little bit of an icebreaker, just something to be thinking about too. Don't feel like you don't have to answer, but it's great if you throw it in the chat. But just thinking about what are some of your favorite digital fundraising campaign examples. But really, I want you to think about the last time you donated or signed up for a recurring donation. What made you decide to give in that moment? Usually, that could be something that's obviously personal. But again, was it having to do with the way that the ask was made? Was it the ease of use that you were able to donate? Was it a particular moment? But just be thinking about that as we get into today's training. All right, so we're gonna do intros. I'm just not a talking head. Um, I have a very good training partner today who I'm going to lean into to drive the nitty gritty of today's fundraising training. And I think I will let Amy introduce herself.
Thanks, Seth. Hi, everyone. My name is Amy Chenlai. I'm the Engineering Partnerships Manager here at Action Network. That means I'm one of the backend developers, and I also run our integrations program, so I can tell you all about our sync with ActBlue and all the other awesome integrations we have. I've been at Action Network since 2017, came through the comms, then went to engineering, so I've been there, done that, wrote the fundraising emails, and now we're here. I am originally from Texas, and now I'm in DC. And that little picture right there is my sweet baby boy, Axel Waxel. He's a little Scottish Terrier mix, and he's the best thing in the entire world.
Cool. Thank you, Amy. Thanks so much. And it's true. Amy has seen it, built it, been there from the beginning. So I'm so glad she's able to join today's conversation training on fundraising, and Axel is amazing. And yes, we are. We decided to use pictures of our dogs. I think because they're the best representation of us. Wouldn't that be right about pet owners? So yeah, again, my name is Seth. Pronouns are he, him, and I am a senior partner success specialist with Action Network and Action Builder. I have a background in digital organizing. I've been with Action Network for 3 years. So you might have seen me or joined me on a training, maybe seen me on a email from here and there, or on support, where I get to work with our partners, folks that are actively using Action Network to do their digital organizing. So the ground rules today, I'm just going to really ask that you park questions into the chat. I'll be fielding those. We'll be trying to answer those questions towards the end if there's enough time. If not, we can take certain questions offline. And then we're just going to operate from the position that you've seen Action Network. Maybe you currently use it for fundraising. So we'll operate from that kind of idea. And we'll get into the agenda here. So the agenda for today is that I will provide an overview of the steps to create a fundraiser. We'll walk through the steps in a live demo of Action Network. So hopefully that works out. I'm just doing it live. And then Amy, I'll hand it over to Amy, who will go into some personalization of data sets with conditional content for fundraising pages, and then share a little bit more about tracking and donation reports with a brief overview of ActBlue. Then lastly, as I mentioned, we'll wrap up with those Q&A, but I'll be fielding the chat as we have logical pauses. So we have, like I said, quite a bit to get through. So we'll go ahead and get into it. I think some key things to know about our organization too. I think that really kind of frames why you would choose to use Action Network for fundraising is to really just who we are. We are a nonprofit organization ourselves. We use a cooperative development model to design our tool sets. And we support partners from large multinational organizations to community-based grassroots groups. And our sole purpose is to build progressive power. So from everyone that works on the development side to our comms to our partner success, we really are passionate about helping the activist folks that are on the ground doing that hard work of organizing to build progressive power with the tools that we're providing. So here I have just Action Builder and Action Network together, looking at those mass mobilizations that you can do with Action Network, including fundraising, and then doing that organizing in the field that organizers do with Action Builder, which is our sister tool set. So that's a little bit of background about who we are, kind of what we stand for, and why we are here. I'm going to do a quick poll. Like I said, we're going to do some participation polls. So I'm going to put a poll up here. Hopefully this works. And if it's not working, then we'll just do it differently. How come I can't click on poll? It's not giving me a poll. That's fun. I know I have a poll in there. Amy, if you click on poll, does the poll come up?
Yeah, want me to launch it?
Yes, please.
Done. I will keep you informed of the results.
Appreciate it. So with the poll, it was a very simple question. Just want to know, what are you most interested in learning today? Your options there were how to set up a fundraising page, how to set up recurring donations, more about the ActBlue sync, sharing your fundraiser page via email, mobile, or social media, how to create a report, or something else. And we'll give folks a couple minutes to respond.
Well, it looks like we have a lot of folks that are wanting to learn how to set up a fundraising page. Second place, we have how to share the fundraiser via mobile, social, email, all that. And then some smattering of other folks who want to learn how to set up the recurring donation, more about ActBlue, reporting on the fundraisers. And the good news is we're going to cover all of that.
All right. Before I jump into the demo, and I won't bore you with too many slides, I just want to get over some key terms and concepts that are important to know. So in Action Network, you can grow your list of activists by engaging them with actions. So if you use Action Network, you probably know that. In the GIF image here, or GIF, I'm starting in the Start Organized menu. In this group that I made up that's called the Action Network Training Group. And fundraisers are something that you have access to, inclusive of other actions. So fundraisers are an action in the same way that petitions are actions, letter campaigns, call campaigns, forms, events, all that good stuff. I said events twice. So I'm going to go to actions, fundraisers, and I'm going to click on the plus sign, and we're going to create a new fundraiser. I also want to note that in the demo, I will pause to hover over this little question mark you'll often see. Maybe you, like me, for months you might have just ignored it, but it's actually really cool. It actually does a lot of good, gives a lot of good detail and information, and they're really helpful. So I encourage you to use them when you are setting up your actions. And then also a note on payment processors. So a payment processor manages the credit card transactions processed by acting as a mediator between the merchant and the financial institutions involved. So basically, they're the middle person, middle layer that handles those transactions. So you don't have to worry about them. You just focus on your activist and how you can engage with them in telling your story, really. So with Action Network, anyone with a U.S. employer identification number can use WePay to raise money using the Action Network, organizations, candidates, and more. Anyone who lives in Stripes, which is another payment processor, areas of operation can do the same thing. For this training, we're going to focus on WePay. That's because it works a little bit better where we're at in the States, but Stripe is also an option. We'll share links to the documentation on how to get that set up. No merchant account is required. Once you start a fundraising page, you'll be asked to make a free account with WePay to collect your donations. It's really straightforward. We charge 3.9% plus 30 cents for each transaction. These fees cover what banks charge for use of credit cards and a small percentage to help us keep the lights on. We are a nonprofit as well. So for Stripe, accounts that have outside the US, the fees might be slightly different. They might be lower, they might be higher, just depending on where you are. You can reach out to us at support with questions on that. But once you've raised some money, and you can withdraw it from your WePay or Stripe account by entering in your bank details, and all that information will be emailed to you once you set up that account. And you can set it up so that your payment processors send you that money daily, weekly, or monthly. And one thing that really note too is that with WePay, once you set up that account, you must ensure your bank details within 14 days. Otherwise, you won't be able to raise further money on your fundraising on your fundraiser. Excuse me. You also must have a U.S. tax ID number to raise money via WePay. One other thing to also note is that you can raise money for your groups and other groups on Action Network. So you can even raise money for multiple groups at the same time by enabling joint fundraisers in what we call bundling. All right, so I'm going to escape from this page. I'm going to jump into my group here, Action Network Training in Action Network, and I'll go through raising the fundraiser together. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is, like I said, was go to the action menu, and click on Start or in the Start Organizing menu, and then I'm going to click on the plus button here so that I can create a new fundraiser. So I want to give it an administrative title. You'll see in the navigation here that I have really two steps. I'm going to edit this fundraiser, and then I'm going to edit the thank you page. So I want to give it an administrative title so internally that my teammates know what I'm doing here. So since Giving Tuesday is around the corner, I'm just going to call this Giving Tuesday Fundraiser. And then I want to give a title to my manage page. I'm sorry, a title to my fundraiser. And you want it to be something that it's going to be public to your activist. So you want to make sure that it is short but really descriptive as well. So I'm going to call it again, Giving Tuesday Fundraiser. My group is called NEO. It's a newly established organization. Only administrators and organizers within your group are able to see that title. It just makes it easier to see. And I know I have some weird son. I wouldn't focus so much on me as what's going on in your screen, but I do apologize for that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to set the default donation amounts. We'll set which ones we want to keep. If we want to change these, we would just click on this gray area to remove them. Click on the remove button, or we can just actually type in this box to add a different type of amount that we want to add. So I'm going to actually remove the 5, and since this is a 2021 fundraiser, I'm just going to go with the 20 themes. I'll click add amount. Remove that. I'm going to do $210. Click add amount. I'm going to do $12. Add amount. And I'll leave it at that. So the other buttons here kind of allow you to be able to, once we go scroll down here, we can actually set to make recurring contributions, something that's optional. And we have the option to set up the period and when those recurring payments are made. So if I click on the drop down button here, we can say we want to make all contributions recurring, or we can make that optional. So once they see that, they have the option to set up recurring, or I can allow the user to set up which type of period we want to have that recurring. So I want to stick with the default. I'm allowing the activist to make that decision. Again, if I scroll over these question marks here, I can see additional information that's going to help me make a decision. It does provide some tips that are like based on strategy. So that's important to know as well. I can also just completely remove the recurring contributions option by clicking on this red link right here. So then the next thing we want to do is look at where my contributions are going to go to. And I want to be able to add a recipient for the actual donations. And I'm going to do that by clicking on this green button that says add recipient. So this gives me an option to be able to, I don't want to necessarily raise the funds for myself, but that's going to be the default option there. And this is where we can actually choose the different, we can choose the different groups that we want to be able to raise funds for. You can raise funds, obviously, for the groups that you have access to as an admin or as an admin. But then you also can choose from all the groups that you have available here. So you would just search that in this box and then click search in order to pull that information up. You can set up joint fundraisers between your organizations and other allied groups in this place as well. So you can select multiple recipients, and then we'll automatically split those contributions up equally among those recipients. Donors will be able to edit the distribution if they want to, but whoever you want to whoever you'd like the money to go to, you just select their name and click the add button. So I'm going to actually set this up so that it goes to my group, Action Network Training NEO, and click add. So since I have a group already established, it is in there. And then now I can actually, I can add an additional recipient. Again, that's going to be split up evenly. I'm just going to go with one recipient for this example here. So the next thing we'll see is we have an option to click a checkbox that will make email addresses optional for contributors. If you make this optional, the donor will not be subscribed to your list, and they won't receive a receipt or anything in their email. In most cases, you'll probably want to leave this unchecked. And then below here, you'll see that the form your activist will complete. You'll notice that there's a more extensive things that you can do with the form. So I wanted to go ahead and edit or change these questions. We'll do things and handle things like we'll automatically ask for their first and last name, their email address, their billing address, obviously their credit card information, since that's information that is really required for contributions. In addition to, if there's additional questions that you want to add, you can do that here. You would simply click on the, you would click on the add custom HTML or click on the button here to add or edit additional form information. Then the last thing you see here is the disclaimer box. So this is where you want to add any kind of legal type of information that you want. It's optional, but any disclaimer text that you provide or you're legally required to provide, such as whether the contributions are tax deductible or not, you would add that here. So along the right side, we see some additional information in this little box. This is important to note. You can have this count your progress bar. You can turn this on or off. If you want to show the progress of your campaign, you can toggle it on or off. That's an option you have. You can look at the contributions, so the amount of time someone has or activist has given, or we can actually look at the total amount raised. So you have a couple options there. I'm going to keep it on the default contributions for this example. Something that also is kind of really something you want to think about editing here is looking at your goal number of how many contributions you think you want or you need to meet your goal. You can update that in the goal slider as well. So you would do that by simply clicking on the edit button, and let's say we need at least 2021 for our goal. So that's going to update it there. So I simply clicked in the box, added my number, and now that's going to update. The next piece I can do is I can actually edit a banner onto my fundraiser. I click on that banner button, and I'm able to pull in an image from my desktop. Got an image there that's available, so I'm gonna pull that in. I'm gonna say, giving. Oh, I totally spelled that wrong. Giving image, and then my alt text is gonna be what it is. So it's a keyboard and credit card. Hit OK, and that's going to add my banner. I want to give a good description to my fundraiser here. So what is my fundraising page description? So this is going to say support our end of the year fundraising goals by contributing today. We can judge this up. Can't believe I actually use that word, but we can do that with formatting. We can bold it. We can add links. We can add images, whatnot. I can add a creator. So I'm going to use this. I can say you can put your name on this action for added authenticity. In addition, people who sign up will be added to your individual list, as well as the sponsoring groups list. So I can add a creator here. I added my own self. But again, if you had a group that you wanted to co-sponsor or show who created it, to add that extra layer of credibility, you would do that here. You know that fundraising and that ask and having that trust is key for a lot of folks that want to be able to give, particularly this time of year. All right, so I've added my creator, I've added a sponsor. I'm going to go ahead and go to my save options. I'm going to say save and go to next step. And my internet is being a little slow. Apologize on that. But this is where we'd be able to, we're going into the payment processor piece to set up. In this example for this training, we're using WePay, so we'll be prompted to log into our WePay or connect our WePay account if we haven't had one set up. Oh, excuse me, I'm on step two, page step two, my edited thank you. I do have my WePay account synced on this, I believe. So my next step is going to be save and publish. From my thank you page, I can add an additional thank you message here for my action takers. So I'm going to say, thank you, and please share this page. I can actually edit my thank you here. So I can say customize message, thanks for your support. Maybe I want to do exclamation point. And then I have my options here, my share options off to the right for social media, whether that be a share on Facebook, on Twitter, email to a friend, or embedding this action somewhere else. I'm going to save and publish my fundraiser. So once I save and publish that fundraiser on step two, it's going to take me to my action manage page. So this is my manage page for this fundraiser, Giving Tuesday fundraiser. And since I have my WePay account set up to accept donations, I'd be able to start accepting donations right away. Again, we have that 14-day time period where we need to be able to go back into our WePay account and put in that banking information so that we can actually accept those processed funds into our banking institution. But those steps really kind of are the process of how we go through and creating the actual page in Action Network, and knowing that the WePay and Stripe are going to be the payment processors behind the scenes are important to know. From my Action Manage page, I'm able to see kind of what's going on with my campaign once it's published. Things like the statistics are going to show here on this statistics page. Obviously, here I have the ability to change that wrapper on the menu on the actual page, just like other actions. So if I had a special action, a special wrapper for this fundraiser I wanted to use, I'd be able to update that here. I can click over and see information again about the stats. I can look at the recipients. If I toggle over to recipients is going to tell us again who are the recipients underneath the tracking here. That there are a few other things that you want to be able to manage from this page. That is different from other fundraisers. That's different from other pages on actions as it pertains to fundraisers. If you have split donations, this is going to show up here. Among the multiple people of the organizations, you'll see how much each recipient is going to receive. So that this is where you're going to get that information on those joint fundraising campaigns. So that's important to know under recipients. If we click over to the donor information, this is where you're going to be able to download the CSV spreadsheet and get all the donor information and contribution amounts. This is really important to know, particularly for outreach. And then, not all of the other fundraisers are going to be there, but this is for the specific fundraiser that you are working with right now from the manage page. If you have multiple fundraiser pages and want a spreadsheet of all your donors in your group, you can create a report underneath reports. So if we go to reports in our people menu, that's where we'll get all of the information. But for the specific campaign, we can grab that from this donor information tab. So we're going to look at the time. Yes. So we're going to look at recurring upsells. I know that that's going to be something that's going to be talked about. Sponsors, we looked at that. Sharing and tracking. Responses is hugely important here. This is something that I wanted to kind of point out too. If you're not using responses, you definitely should be. It's going to be by default ticked here for your auto response for your fundraiser. This is important because they're going to receive their donation receipt. This allows them to have control over things like the recurring payments. So you want to make sure that that is on available and set up. So that's the responses tab there. So those are my steps in kind of setting up the actual campaign itself. I'll pause there, doing a quick time check, probably hop back into my presentation here. I know that we are going to talk a little bit about how you want to be able to share that fundraiser once you get it set up. And I wanted to talk a little bit about text to take action as one way that you could share that. If you have access to mobile messaging, In Action Network, you can have a fully seamless mobile experience for your activist. In this example that I wanted to do, and I have to go through it pretty quickly, I wanted to be able to share my fundraiser via an event that I'm hosting. So I have my group, Action Neo. We're hosting an event. We want to raise some money for this rent party. We created this cool flyer, and we're allowing people to be able to text the keyword rent to our mobile number, and that's going to allow them to be able to sign up for this event. This event is going to trigger them into a mobile communication that's going to give them an ask for them to be able to donate. So that's pretty simple. And we have some really cool ways to be able to engage with your activists, obviously, but I thought this might be a cool one just to kind of showcase how we want to share that fundraiser. So I'm going to go to Action. I'm going to go to my events queue, just so we can see that page and how that's kind of set up. And then we'll switch. I'll hand it off to Amy here shortly. Looks like we got a lot of questions going on there in the chat. You're checking those out, Amy?
Yep, I got them.
Awesome. So I have a draft for this fundraiser already set up. We did one earlier in our text to take action training we had back in March. So I have this virtual party event set up. I'm gonna go ahead and publish it. I feel good about all the information that I've added here. So I'm gonna do save and go to the next step. And then I'm gonna click publish so that I can get to my event manage page. Oops, it actually has my old time in there. That's not good. I need to set it in the future. All right, let's do it for next month on a Friday at 7 o'clock. And now I can publish this page. All right, so now I'm on my event manage page, and from here I can do things like edit the keywords that I want to use on this campaign. So I'm gonna go ahead and click that. I need to add a keyword. My keyword for this is going to be, I don't know, party, add keyword. Oh, group already has this keyword. I can't believe I used the keyword party already. So I'm gonna say winter, add keyword. I know I haven't done that. So now my keyword winter is showing up. So now all people have to do is text the keyword winter into my new, not my new, but this number here that I have set up. I have a recycle number here so that they can be added to this event. And then the way that I want to share my fundraiser here is actually going to add, I could add it into my auto responses, but I also could create a ladder from this. And I know I'm kind of showing you multiple ways to be able to share this fundraiser, but this is one way, again, that you could do it fully via the mobile. So I'm going to use a mobile welcome as a template here to send my fundraiser. So the trigger is they've texted to sign up for this event. I'm gonna make sure I modify that, edit that, and then the next piece here, I'm going to follow up with an ask for them to donate. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my link for my fundraiser. So I'm gonna go to my fundraiser page. I'm gonna go ahead and edit this message. So with mobile messaging, I have a limited amount of real estate that I want to use. And here I'm going to say, support us every Tuesday with recurring donation. And I'm going to put my link in. So now I can go to my manage page and grab my direct link. You can also just grab it right from your web browser if you click on the actual page. My link is here off to the right in this box. And click into the link, oops, into this box, copy it. And we have an automatic link shortener in here, so I'm just going to paste it. And now I can save my action. So now that I have that set up, I'm going to have a message that automatically goes through that's sending them that additional donation based upon that text to take action. They'll automatically receive my link from our fundraiser, and I will be able to engage with my activists in a new way that's completely mobile and kind of unique and fun way to do a fundraiser or to share a fundraiser via mobile. All right, so that's what I have for my section of talking about uh, how to get started with fundraisers, how to set up an action page in order to support that, and one way you might want to be able to share that action. I know Amy has some technical pieces to get into, so I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to her to talk a little bit about the ActBlue integration.
Cool. Thanks, Seth. I now rely on you to have fun managing the chat box. Please enjoy. So I'm going to talk a bit about the ActBlue integration. So if y'all aren't familiar with ActBlue, it is the awesome fundraising platform for Democrats and progressive causes and nonprofits. They have a national donor database so that people are able to have their payment information saved. I highly recommend using ActBlue if you're able to. I know we have some candidates on the call and people working for campaigns, so I would recommend looking into them. It makes your reporting a lot easier at the end of the month and at the end of the quarter. We don't have those, financing tools built in, but they do, which is super awesome. Another cool thing about ActBlue is they're also a nonprofit and they're also unionized just like us. So we love ActBlue. Highly recommend using them. And all the better because our integration with them is seamless. So this was developed in cooperation with the Democratic National Committee, so you know it's good. So it automatically subscribes donors to your group's email list. It subscribes donors who opt into your mobile on ActBlue to your mobile list on Action Network. It stores the donation date, the donation amounts, and recurring status. You can also store the employer and occupation as custom fields. And even better, you can tag Express Lane users so that you can customize emails to them in a really cool way that I will show shortly. So if you can use ActBlue, again, highly recommend it. We can send our help doc on getting it set up. But this is another option available to you. Oh, did I mute myself? For the whole time?
No, just for like a couple seconds.
Oh, cool. Okay. I was like, oh my God, I actually made sense for once and I was muted. Could we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. So I'm also going to talk about personalization because personalization is what I think is one of the best ways to raise money and raise more money. And people always like to feel special. I like to feel special, and personalization is a great way to do that. So whether that's putting someone's state or their city or other information that you have on them in the email to say like, oh, hey, I know you're in this city and I need this many more donors from this city. You can do things like that. Or the easiest thing to do is to just personalize the donation amounts, the ask amounts that you are asking for. So you can do this via clips and liquid. Clips are those bits of personalization data that you can insert into email, just like first name or last name or city or state. You can insert someone's highest previous contribution or their latest donation amount. So here I've shown some very simple ways to just multiply that donation. So one cool thing that I like to do is I like to ask people to double their latest donation. So you can put the ×2 and that will double their latest donation amount. And so you're asking people for an amount that's appropriate to them and isn't something, wildly out there. So I really recommend using these. And it's an easy way to get set up with personalization. Next slide, please. So I might actually steal this screen share for this one if you don't mind, Seth, because this one gets a little complicated. So This next thing, this is kind of a medium difficulty. It gets a little more difficult. So if you're not super used to Action Network, if digital tech isn't necessarily your thing, I'd maybe stay away from doing this, or I'd really read the help docs, because it does get a little complicated. So personalization data sets are ways that you can easily personalize emails and mobile messages based on a certain set of criteria. So here we have our data set of state and then a value. So what this will do is, if someone is in California, then we'll give them the value of $55. If they're in New York, 75. If they're in Texas, 66. So this prevents you from having to write really complex if-else statements with Liquid. So you are able to output an amount for each state. So because this is, a little more complicated, I really recommend reading our help doc, which we will send over. But it's a really cool tool you can use. I'm seeing people use it in really awesome ways, like saying, this is my voter registration deadline in my state, or this is my polling location for this zip code. It's really helpful for those sorts of things, and it's really cool for fundraising as well. So check it out. And the last one, because I know we're running a bit short of time, we can go to the next slide, please, Seth. So this is super difficult. So I'm not going to lie, this made me cry when I was building it for another organization. So if you are familiar with coding, if you are a bit of a programmer, or you just want to challenge yourself, this is something that you can do. What this does, it is a button block that personalizes the ask amounts for each individual based on their highest previous contribution. You can also do it based on someone's ActBlue Express Lane tag. So you can see here, it says Express Donate because I have my ActBlue Express set up. And then it's asking me for higher amounts because I've previously donated a higher amount. So each of these buttons is customized based on my previous contribution. So something like this is what I would receive if I've never donated before. And maybe I would receive something like this if I've donated like $10 before and had ActBlue Express Lane set up. You can also customize it based on member tags. That's something I've seen people use that's really cool, because you can say, oh, I know that you are a high level member. Let me ask you for more money or something, or less money if you're trying to get them to donate money in other ways, or volunteer, or move them up the ladder of engagement in other ways. So again, gets kind of complicated, but it's super cool if you want to delve into it, and can help you raise a lot more money. But even if you just want to do a simple button block like this, there's a bunch of online tools that are out there that will build these email buttons for you. And you're able to just plug them into your email. I mean, of course, make sure to test, but you can set up pretty buttons like this. And we can go to the next slide, please. Cool. And the last thing I'll touch on are some URL arguments that you can add to your email, to your links in your emails and mobile messages. The first is this amount. So this will automatically preset the amount that someone's going to donate. So like on the page Seth showed, it would automatically show $21. Those links don't work, so please don't click them. They are fake fundraising pages. But so that would automatically set to $5. And this bottom one, this would set the amount to $5 and also set the recurring period to monthly. So this donation would recur monthly. Now, I will warn you about this, because if you do not make it clear on your fundraising page that they are opting into this recurring donation, then that is kind of unethical, and you should not do that. We make it very clear on our pages that they see the box, it's checked recurring monthly or recurring weekly, or however much it is. We make that very clear, but I would go the additional step of make it clear in your title or something else that you're asking for a monthly contribution, so that no one is accidentally looking at their credit card statement and is like, oh my God, and then they get upset with you, and then nobody's happy. So be careful with that one. But the amount, that's a really cool one to use, and it saves people the extra step of picking the amount that they're going to donate. And I think that might be it for me. Those are just some more technical things that you can try out as you get your fundraising programs leveled up. But yeah.
Unmute myself. Thank you so much, Amy, and folks that joined us. I just want to double check. I know we're going to go into questions now. Nora had a question about on your example because I didn't quite catch it on the slide. But when we do that personalization set to double the donation, does it double? Does it double the single donation or does it double the recurring donation? I thought it doubled the single donation. Oh, you're muted.
I am, aren't I? So it will double whatever your last amount is. So
Right.
if it's a recurring contribution, then that would be a recurring contribution.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good question, Nora. Um, Catherine is asking, how do we put a donate button on our website?
Yeah, so all of our actions come with embeddable widgets that you can easily embed onto your website. So what I would recommend is putting that directly on your website. Um, you can grab that embed code from your action manage page. It's kind of near the bottom. Seth, if you want to show where that is. There's a few different options there to customize it, like the width and the styles and stuff. But that's how you would do it. And you can also, just link to the fundraiser if you want to, but I would recommend embedding it.
Right. So you would just copy this code and you would paste it into the area on your webpage that you want to have that widget show up. And you can actually customize the size of it here, small, large, or custom width. So you will, and again, you do that from your fundraiser manage page. Any action manage page is going to give you that ability to have embed that action. And then Meryl's asking, I'm new to Action Network. Is there a video or somewhere to explain how to create a page wrapper? We go over page wrappers in our training specifically for email, but we do have some videos on page wrappers. We have a YouTube channel with a good library that we're going to be working on updating with our new kind of refreshed look. And then Amy posted a video tutorial on page wrappers. Thank you. I knew we had one. In addition to the documentation about page wrappers. But that's a good question, Meryl. If there's other kind of pieces here that you want to kind of learn a bit more about, we've talked about fundraisers, but then we talked about how you would be able to use this fundraising information, whether it be the embed or the link itself, in order to basically share it. And that kind of goes into some other kind of tools and abilities that you have within Action Network. I recommend checking out our trainings. You can go under support here, click on the little trainings icon, and it's going to give you access to sign up for those trainings that we have every week to go over those kind of key components of the platform. All right, so I think we're at 45 on the nose, as promised. Was there any other questions? I know that Amy. Okay, so two more questions. Can you show what an embed looks like on a web page?
Off the top of my head, let me see if I can find one.
And then that was Meryl, and then Ina asked, could we embed into a newsletter end of the year summary to our email list? Yes. Now you're getting creative. So yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be so
Um,
much of an embed as it would be kind of putting that content in there. What were we gonna say, Amy? I'm sorry.
yeah, so you can't put widgets into
Oh yeah,
emails.
right.
So because JavaScript can't go in emails, that's a big no-no. But you can put a link to donate in your fundraise in your email so that people are able to click to donate. So you can make that a cool button. You could take a screenshot of the fundraiser and put and link the image in there, but the embed itself cannot go in the email.
Right. Yeah. I got that. I got thrown off by the word embed. We were talking about embeds, but 100% correct, Amy. Email can only do limited things, but if you do an image, which most people do, you can link that image to your fundraiser. All right, and thank you. So yeah, if you click on the link that Amy just put into the chat, that's going to show you what a embed looks like on a web page. Standing Rock. So looks like we're getting a lot of good questions on how you set up the fundraiser, and hopefully that was um, kind of to the point. I think it's actually one of the more kind of uh, it's a really kind of seamless, easy action to set up out of the actions that we do have available. But then getting that step with the payment processor is pretty seamless with WePay. A little bit more extra steps with Stripe, but we have really good documentation on that as well. Um, so hopefully this was a helpful and eye-opening on how you can get started with using the fundraiser tool in Action Network. Do you have any other questions? before we wrap up, we will share the recording. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and close it down. Thank you, Amy, so much for co-training with me and answering those tough questions in the chat.
Always a pleasure.
All right, take care. See
Thanks.
y'all.
Bye, everyone.